Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming my November eyeshadow palette ranking video. I know, as always, I'm late to the party, but I ended up getting sick. It just took me forever to film this video, so I am very sorry. I'm definitely going to be doing a December rankings video as well as my 2023 eyeshadow palette ranking video. So if you like ranking videos, I do one every month. So highly recommend subscribing to my channel, turning on that bell so you're notified every time I post, and without further blabbering, let's get into it. If you are wondering about this makeup look, it should be live on my channel already. I'll go ahead and link it down below for you guys in case you're curious about the products that I have on. I think that's all the announcements. Let's go ahead and start off with ranking my palettes. I have 20 palettes to rank. Actually, technically I have more, but some of them I ranked together. So hopefully it makes sense. Also, I feel like I always sit here and I'm like, oh my god, it was so hard to rank. And honestly, this month was tough too. And I don't even know if I have really very good rhymes or reasons as to why I ranked things the way I did, but hopefully it makes sense. So we're starting off in the 20th spot. This is from Juvia's Place, and they actually sent this one to me because I felt like I won the lottery in November, but I got to be a part of Juvia's Place Black Friday campaign. I literally thought it was spam because I've gotten so many spam emails from people pretending to be Juvia's Place asking me to be like an affiliate with them. Anyway, I was so excited because this time it was legit, and they had like a mega bundle that you could buy and you got a bunch of palettes and stuff like that. So they actually sent me this palette. I used to own this one, but I did declutter it because it's just a smaller like rainbow palette and I like it, but I feel like my collection has just come so far as what's more innovative now, and so I think this palette just hasn't kept up with the times for me personally, so I'm ranking it in the 20th spot. Okay, in 19th place is Glamlite. This is the Friday the 13th palette. Honestly, when they showed their horror stuff, I was thinking that this was the most interesting, but once I got it and saw it in person, it's honestly just a bunch of really dark shades, and the shimmer shades are nice, but they're not very special. So it's just a very grungy, dare I say, one note kind of palette. It could have really used at least one or two lighter mattes to really make this a more well-rounded palette. So for that reason, I'm ranking it at number 19. Okay, in 18th place are the two Nightmare on Elm Street palettes from Glamlite. Again, I thought these were going to be the best palettes that they did for their horror series because they kind of did them at the end. And it also kind of made sense for the holidays because they did a red palette and a green palette. But I feel like they're too grungy to be festive, in my opinion. And I feel like since there aren't, again, very many light shades in this green one, it's just a very dark green. And I mean, the red one's a little bit more festive in my opinion, but overall, both of these palettes just kind of put me in a sad mood. And for that reason, again, because there wasn't anything that special about them, I'm ranking them at number 18. Okay, so this one is 17th place, and this is from WhatsApp Beauty. I really like this outer packaging, but I will say the inside definitely does not mirror what's on the outside. It's a very nice palette, very high quality. Do not get me wrong, but I just feel like with this type of packaging, I was expecting a couple of multi-chromes in here and stuff like that, and I would have loved for them to include a colorful matte shade. It's pretty much a neutral palette with a pop of color, which I don't mind, but I just feel like I have a lot of really good palettes. Again, very close to the end of the year, the indie brands are pulling out all of the stops, so you really have to do something very fun and unique for it to be closer to the top, in my opinion. Okay, in 16th place is the Wicked Widow Graveyard Smash palette. This is actually a really cute palette. I think that so many brands kind of do the 12 and 15 pan color story, so I thought this was very refreshing, especially in the September-October time frame. There were so many palettes coming out. I'm kind of late to ranking this one, but I also tried it kind of late, so that's why you're seeing it in my November ranking. But I think this is a very cute palette, and that's why it is in the 16th spot. Okay, in 15th place is the Komodo palette from Clarity Cosmetics. I think this is a really cute palette. I feel like Clarity has worked really hard on improving their formula. I recently decluttered and filmed my eyeshadow palette collection video, and I noticed in a lot of my Clarity palettes, the older ones I have, the eyeshadows, especially the shimmer shades, were kind of crumbly. So I'm really hopeful that with tweaks, their formula has continued to get better. And so I'm ranking this in the 15th spot. Okay, in 14th place is the Glamlite Halloween collection that I thought I was going to like the least, but I actually think this is kind of fun. I really like the duochrome shades they included in this, and I think that's what prompted me to rank it a little bit higher than the rest of them. Overall, it's still a very monochromatic gray, black, and white palette, so I feel like everybody has done this color story now, so I don't need anybody else to come out with gray palettes, okay? I'm just gonna say it. I thought it was nice, and the quality is really good too. Okay, in 13th place, I have the Oden's Eye holiday palettes. Now, I was really more excited about them relaunching their holiday palettes from 2022 than these ones, if I'm being very, very candid with y'all. But I feel like these are cute. I just really like how saturated the other two were from last year. So I'm so happy that people had a chance to get them back. I feel like these will pair so well with those because it kind of has those lighter shades that you can mix and match with a lot of the deep jewel tones that are in the Merry Christmas and Christmas Eve palette. But honestly, not my favorite. So that's why they're in the 13th spot. Okay, in 12th place, we have the Cozy Cabin palette from Simply Posh. This is such a beautiful palette. I think the quality is really nice. The reason it's ranking at number 12 is because it is more of a monochromatic palette. It's very comforting and beautiful, and you probably won't need to reach for another palette if you're using this one, maybe a brow bone shade or an inner corner highlighter. But other than that, it does have everything you need. And the middle row has some really stunning duochromes and shimmers in it. Okay, in 11th place, the Midnight Serenade palette from Lethal Cosmetics. I feel like this is my first real neutral palette from Lethal, and it's so beautiful. Oh my goodness, the metallics are stunning and the mattes are beautiful as well. I think they picked a really fun, kind of different theme for them. I feel like this is just very unexpected from them. I feel like I know them for doing very colorful color stories, and I feel like there is a benefit for brands like Lethal to do something a little bit more neutral just so they can have different consumers try their stuff. If they just keep making colorful palettes, they're not going to be able to attract consumers that like to wear more neutral palettes. So I think this totally makes sense for them. Even though I don't love neutrals, I think this is a beautiful palette. And this has like more my type of neutral shades. And I'm not mad that they did a bit of pop of color here as well. Okay, in 10th place, technically I don't always put single shadows in my rankings, but Fantasy Cosmetica did their Lost Library collection and created these beautiful holographic eyeshadows. So I thought I would just mention them. I feel like it's a little bit unfair to include an all shimmer palette when I'm ranking eyeshadow palettes that have mattes and shimmers in them, but this is so stunning that I wanted to give them a spot in my rankings. In 9th place is the Juvia's Place Afro Galactica palette. Now, I just feel like more people should be talking about this palette. I will say when I saw it online, I didn't think it looked that interesting, but in person it is truly stunning. There's some beautiful multi-chrome shades as well as some beautiful metallics, and then some really fun mattes in here as well. What I like about this palette is it's not as big as our Culture palettes, but it still packs quite a few shadows in it. Lots of options here, and they also laid it out really well, so each row is also an eye look, which is so nice when you have these very grungy, kind of intimidating color stories, to be able to know, like, if I just pair these shades together, then I can have a cohesive eye look. In 8th place, I have to give it to another kind of neutral palette. This is the Huda Pretty Grungy palette. I think this is a really cute palette. I was not expecting to be that impressed with it, but the quality is nice. It has some beautiful shimmer shades, and I feel like this is what's trendy right now, so totally makes sense to me. If I had to pick a favorite between all of the Huda palettes, I don't think I would pick this one, but I feel like it's actually a really nice palette. Very giftable, perfect for the holiday season. In 7th place is another beautiful neutral palette. This is definitely more of my kind of neutrals. This is Unearthly Sorcerer's Smoke palette. So this was like their fall palette. This was sent to me, and I must say I'm loving this packaging that Unearthly is doing, the rectangle palettes. And I also like that they kind of made their pan sizes a little bit smaller. So I think that they are just doing such a good job. I cannot wait for their Dreamer palette to come. I don't know if you guys saw that there's a bit of an update that there's a shipping delay on those. But in the meantime, we can all play with our Sorcerer's palette, our Fall Magic palette, our Don't Be Jelly palettes, and our Devour palettes. They have such beautiful metallics. I feel like this is Unearthly's best formula yet. So yeah, kudos to the team at Unearthly for working so hard on their formulas. Look at how pretty these are, so shimmery, and there's something for everyone. So if you don't like the super colorful out there palettes, this one might be perfect for you. Okay, in 6th place is the DD Signature Jingle Bells Ruby palette. And honestly, you guys, this palette just puts me in the festive spirit. I know it's probably not the most unique color story around this time of year, but it is gorgeous, and DD does have a really, really stunning shimmer formula. Her duochromes in this palette are perfection for the time of year. So if you love wearing red and green on your eyes, if you love letting the world know that you are a proud lover of the holidays like I am, then this might be a really fun palette for you guys to pick up. Next in the list is number 5, and I'm going to give it to the Blend Bunny Makina palette. I had so much fun trying this palette out. I had a little bit of extra time, I guess, in the middle of the month, and so I was able to create like 4 or 3 looks with this palette for my YouTube channel, which makes me happy because I usually just don't have that kind of time. So this is a really fun palette if you like really grungy color stories. I especially love like these cool tone kind of murky shadows, and then we have that juxtaposed with this very vibrant bright pink and purple and red section. So not necessarily a holiday palette, but I don't know, something about it is just very inspiring to me. And of course the shade Machina or Makina, I keep twisting it up in my head. I think it's just Makina, is so stunning. It is like the perfect shade for all of the colors in the palette. So I had a lot of fun playing with this one from Blend Bunny. Okay, time for top 4. This was honestly so hard. I feel like all of these palettes could technically be number 1, but I had to do my best. So in 4th place, I gave it to the Lands of Enchantment palette from Ensley Rain. Oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful palette. I probably dropped it just a little bit because I'm not the biggest lover of pastel shadows, so it wasn't like I was immediately attracted to this palette. It definitely is prettier in person, in my opinion. The mattes and the beautiful shimmers are so great together. I also love that we included some deeper matte tones. You guys know I need those in my life, but Ensley Rain really has caught my heart this year, and I'm so excited to see what next year is going to be like for them. And then they're also dropping a palette very soon here on the 26th. It's called Cold Moon. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But this Lands of Enchantment palette is so gorgeous. I just love swatching shimmer shades. You guys know that. I could sit here and do it all day. So anyway, that's palette number 4. So palette number 3 was sent to me by one of my favorite indie brands. Adept's Element 115 palette is so cute. I will say I definitely love the shimmers in this palette a little more than the mattes, but I just can't get enough of these palettes. They're just so stunning. I did just swatch that over my blush, but it's fine. Look at that little marbling from that eyeshadow that is like the rainbow shadows in this palette. Adept makes some of the most beautiful shimmers in the indie market. I feel like they really started off the multi-chromes in palettes, and I just love them so much. So I'm so happy to see them doing so many different color stories. And yeah, that was a fun launch because I was not expecting that palette to launch till 2024. So kind of snuck up on me in the best way. In second place, I want to give it to the Bejewel palette from Bella Beaute Bar. And honestly, I just feel like this is such a fun, unique color story. It doesn't have any light shades, as you can see, but oh my gosh, the pigmentation and the quality of this palette is so good that I didn't want to hold the fact that there were no light shades in this palette against it. I mean, look at how pigmented these mattes are. This is going to be such a great palette for people of color if you are looking for a great palette to pull some deep mattes from. This might be the one for you. And let's not even get me started on the shimmers. The quality is so there. They swatch like butter. Oh, okay, let me just swatch. So smooth. So beautiful, so pigmented. So yeah, love that palette so much. So, okay, it's time for the number one palette of November 2023, and I had to give it to the Winter Wonderland palette from Cosmic Brushes. I feel like this has a theme. It has a great price point. The quality is amazing. We have a lot of contrast. We have light shades, we've got mid-tone shades, and we've got some beautiful dark mattes as well. So I feel like this is such a well-rounded palette. These metallics are, of course, as always, just out of this world, gorgeous, soft, beautiful. I cannot find enough adjectives to describe how beautiful this palette is, so I don't know if I'm going to keep trying to do that, but I am so impressed by this palette. I know they've done a few other palettes this year, but I think Winter Wonderland is my favorite one from Cosmic Beauty this year, so that is why it has the number one spot. I hope you guys enjoyed my November eyeshadow palette ranking video. Let me know what your favorite palette of November was, and if you guys want to let me know your favorite palette of the year, I would love to hear all about it. So leave me a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Also, in case you haven't seen, I am posting my collection videos and declutters as well, so keep an eye out for those. I know for sure at least one or two of those have already posted, so keep an eye out for my eyeshadow palette collection video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye, friends!